Hey everybody, let's make sure that we're all good to go. Yeah, it looks like we are live from Denver. It is Friday night. We are here. We have sound. Looks like we're good. As you can see, I am joined by my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello.
All right. Hi, all the usual critics and suspects and everybody. Glad you're joining us tonight. We know you have a lot of choices in your streaming entertainment options for Friday nights, and we are glad that you have made us your choice to hang out with for a little while. Yeah, okay, a little bit of echo, huh? Yeah, let me check something here. Let me make sure we got the right things here. Yeah, that's all fine. It sound a little funky. Let me see. Not too much. Something's weird with Chris's mic. Yeah. I am not sure what that is. Maybe a little bit of something. I wonder. Go ahead and turn that off.
Okay.
We have the AC on right now, and that's an added noise factor in here, and I don't know if that's going to a little buzzy, yeah. And then I can bring this down a little bit, and I think that's what I can do. Yeah.
I think it's okay now. They said it stopped.
Yeah, everything's plugged in. Just making sure. All right. Oh, looks like the AC might have had something to do with it or something.
100 degrees in New Jersey. Dang.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's warm here, but not that warm. It's going to be. We're going to have, we had a little bit of rain showers today. Had some intermittent rain during the week, but it's been pretty warm here, and we're supposed to have 90s.
Yeah, for next whatever.
Yeah, we're like in the next few days, we're supposed to have like 95 and 96 and stuff. And yeah, it's like supposed to get nasty. It's like 83 right now. Yeah, 90 degrees tomorrow, 96 on Sunday and Monday both.
Ugh.
Ugh. So good times, huh? Yeah, hope that's get those air conditioners out. We have a window unit I put in here during the summer, and we have one of those rolling window deals that we put into the dining room area, and that's how we kind of keep our temperature chill while we're here in Denver. It's not, the winters are not as bad as people might think they are.
True.
And I don't think the summers are either, but it's not a moderate thing. We're not California by any means.
Oh no.
Yeah. Don't know if you all, well, actually, let's see here. Got a couple things to talk about, but before we get into that, did you have a quote for us this week?
About manipulation. Manipulation is the dark side of charisma, Max Weber.
Oh, that is true. Manipulation is the dark side of charisma. We are definitely going to be talking about that tonight. We have some things to share with you, some things that I think you might find surprising and interesting about this subject of how people manipulate. But before we get into that, I have to talk about this. I think you'll want to as well. And that is Louisiana. I am fit to be tied right now. I'm very, very upset.
These people just want to ignore everything our founding fathers said and pretend like they're listening to them, actually. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really twisted. There's this whole alternate history timeline narrative idea amongst Christian nationalists and dominionists and hardcore evangelicals. I'm not trying to paint with too broad a brush here. Literal biblical literalists, these kind of hardcore culty folks, right? That this is a Christian nation founded on Christian principles and always was intended to have Christianity as the state religion. And everybody who always puts this forward always has the incredibly unique idea that their version of Christianity is the one that the founding fathers blessed and anointed
Of course.
In our Constitution, where they never said any such thing. And that it has always been a nation wherein God we trust, when in fact that wasn't added to the money until the late 1800s, and wasn't officially added to the dollar bill. No, it was coinage.
Coinage in the
Yeah, and then the dollar bill, and and the national anthem, I believe.
Well,
in the 50s.
The "In God We Trust" thing came in the 50s. Yeah.
And that is.
That was the Red Scare. We were trying to be more godlike than Russia.
That's right. More sanctified, more blessed. One nation under God, all that.
We're not going to be those godless Soviets.
Exactly. And that's bad enough. But then to have, there's this concept in America, and it's a very valid, very important concept of the separation of church and state.
Right.
This is constitutional stuff.
First Amendment says freedom of religion.
That's right. And
which means to practice or not practice it, and practice any freaking religion you want, but these people don't understand that.
Okay, well, the point of it is, in terms of government documents, that the government's not going to interfere with your religious practice, that you have the right to practice your religion. However, that means the government needs to stay out of religion, and that means that publicly funded institutions, therefore, should not, cannot, must not be biased or take an outward stand or enforcement or endorsement of any single one religion. This is so important as a concept in our country, that we not have a state or state-approved religion, national religion, if you will. This is really important. And there are a lot of people in this country, and I've interviewed, Clint Haycock and other people, Andrew Seidel, other people on my podcast over the years who have discussed this. Andrew Seidel is a constitutional lawyer, and we've gone into this in detail. This is really important because, and the reason I'm harping on this is because Louisiana's governor and state legislature decided to throw all of that into the trash bin, and assert that they are right for putting the 10 Commandments posted in every public school in the state. And this is when you're doing that into publicly funded institutions, that is a sort of an inherent or a blanket endorsement of the 10 Commandments as put up on the walls in Louisiana. It's not like the 10 Commandments are fully agreed upon in all the wording across all of Christianity, right?
Right.
Different people have different ideas about what these things say exactly. So which version are we going to use? Well, Louisiana is going to use whichever one they chose. And that's not even the point. I'm just saying that even amongst 10 Commandment Christians, believers, theists,
they can't even figure out which version to agree on.
They got different versions, exactly, right? So this is so to sort of endorse this from a government level and foist this off on children. This is schools we're talking about.
But the liberals are the groomers, baby.
Yeah, the liberals are the groomers.
I know.
This makes me very, very mad. This makes me very, very mad. Because they're tearing down the wall between church and state. They're doing it on purpose, premeditatedly. This is American Taliban kind of stuff. If you go over to Afghanistan right now, you have a country run by this religious group, the Taliban, this religious terrorist group, and they have very, very extreme beliefs. And when they run the government, when they are running the show, those beliefs become law. How would you all like to be under the law of evangelical belief that, all women must dress modestly?
And be subservient to their husbands.
That's right. And be submissive, right? And your place is in the home.
Right.
This kind of nonsense. These are Stone Age.
What I want to know about these
concepts.
people that believe women should be in the home and only men should be working is, are you going to raise the wages so that's even possible? Because it's not possible to not have two incomes. These people don't think.
Well, somehow they make, somehow some of these people make it work.
Yeah, mom runs a daycare out of the house.
Yeah, basically. It's not right. It's a territorial grab. It's the first in what is expected to be and is hoped to be by these people a domino effect, a series of actions, right? Just like with marijuana legislation, drug legislation, where it starts in one or two states and then picks up and goes into others.
Everywhere, yeah.
They want this, and they want this really badly. And this is what Mike Pence was all about in the White House. This is why setting the groundwork and the laying all the foundation for this kind of thing to happen is why he was there. And it's just not right. It's enforcing, it's taking away. Here's the bottom line, right? It takes away the right to believe or practice what religion you want to believe or practice by endorsing at the government level and putting in front of the face of children in schools a particular set of beliefs of one religion. And what are the Muslim kids supposed to think? What are the Hindu kids supposed to think when they go into
the atheist kids?
Or the atheist kids. That's right. What are they supposed to think? What are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to deal with this kind of thing? These are not things that should be a problem for them, but they are being made into a problem by religious fanatics. And y'all know how I feel about religious fanaticism, right? Having been a religious fanatic, having been in that headspace of knowing how awful it is and how bigoted and opinionated and conceited and arrogant and narcissistic even that can become. I don't want that for anybody. I don't want what I went through for anybody. And because it's dangerous to our future. So I had to respond to that, had to put that out there because it has everything to do with my channel and my work, my life work, is this. And also, Mel pointed out the other night when we were talking about this, that this is going to be challenged, and I had to laugh. It'll
probably be challenged by the Satanic Temple. That's my guess.
Exactly. So yes. So basically, you kind of stole my.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, the people who are going to challenge this is going to be the Satanic Temple, and I guess where I was going with that was, thank God for the Satanic Temple, because because they're really right now they're the ones who are ensuring the Satanic Temple of the of America, right? This is a nationwide group, and they
don't actually believe in a literal Satan, though.
No, they don't, and that's the whole point. Is believe what you want, but if you're going to be, and represented by Beelzebub, right, by these statues of the horned, goat god, and that highlights exactly what the freedom of religion is all about. Is that if you're going to put up monuments and tablet, and these statues of the Ten Commandments or these religious works in public squares and paid for by government funds, then you have to do that for all religions. And that's what the Satanic Temple has been working on for years, is going, oh, okay, you're going to do that for Christians? Good. Well, then, by law, you're going to do this for us too. And these guys hate the Satanists, right? They hate the Satanic Temple, but they're the ones who are actually doing the work of religious freedom in this country, because the Christian nationalists have lost their goddamn minds. They are fanatics. Yeah. And I cannot emphasize enough the danger of these people. They're one step away right now under MAGA of being radicalized. And maybe you aren't being one step away from being radicalized, but they are. And they are dangerous people. So so I want to highlight that, because that is a far greater threat to our nation right now than Scientology has ever been, for example, right? Or even the Moonies, as far as that goes. Okay, so yeah, the Satanic Temple is truly doing the Lord's work. That is exactly right. Now, earlier there was a question here. I saw somebody ask me something. Sorry, guys, I'm just circling back. Oh, you guys have been active in the comments.
Yeah.
Great. Anthony, you asked me something, and I can't find it now. Sorry, guys. I don't want to take too much time with that. But Anthony, if you want to put your question back in the chat now, I can get back around to that. While we are waiting for that, or while we're moving forward here, let's do some Benson Cam.
Yeah.
Let's do a little Snuggles, Not Struggles, to palate cleanse our
there he is.
Our nation state nonsense. Yes, here's Benson. There he is earlier today on Mel's couch, just kind of kicking it there.
Yeah.
He has been so chill this week.
He has been.
He is really, it feels more like he is even more in tune with us now, you know? Somehow he just picks up on things faster. It's easier to direct him to do stuff, and he just loves cuddling.
He does. He's been very cuddly lately.
Oh, so cuddly. And he just looks at you with those great big eyes. Look at those eyes. Oh, they're just so cute. Oh my gosh. So, all right. So there's your puppy love palate cleanser there. Oh, little sneaker. He's just so cute. Wow, you really got him right on the camera then.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So let's go back to us. All right. So there's okay. Yeah, so thank God for the Satanic Temple. Okay, well, maybe we'll hear from Anthony in a little bit.
Yeah.
Just give it one more go round. Okay. Well, that's exactly my problem, right? Christians in name only. And that's kind of really my problem with that, is if you're gonna get in my face about your beliefs and how I need to run my life according to your beliefs, you know, we're gonna have a conversation about that. But if you're not even gonna run your own life according to those beliefs and then get on me about how horrible and evil and awful I am, I don't see any reason why I need to give you the time of day, Mr.
Exactly.
Mr. Hypocrite. So I think there's anyway, conversations there. So what a week. I was going to tell you guys about this too, just because it's part of point of my channel and what I'm doing. So I've been on this ADHD med for a little while, off and on, and that's been helpful in helping me with focus and with being able to just kind of sit and get work done without having to feel super antsy or a little buzzy or a little, you know, that bzz feeling that I think some people out there who have ADHD might be familiar with. It's a disorganized sort of energy. It's a feeling that, you know, you want to do this thing, but then no, you can't do this thing. You got other things you got to do. Or just an inability to just sit and focus and put attention on a thing when you actually want to. Or being alternately hyper-focused on something that as it's happening, there's a little voice in the back of my head, at least, going, why am I doing this right now? Right?
Hey, you get all hyper-focused on something that you probably shouldn't be at that moment. It's not useful for what you're trying to do.
Exactly, right? And it's not just distracted, it's like focused. And when you don't want that, it can be really weird it can start feeling uncomfortable to be in your own skin, right? It starts feeling like not just a head thing. Your whole body's like protesting this, and yeah, and it's difficult, right? So the ADHD meds have been, or med has been helpful with that. Hasn't cured it. I'm not looking to cure it. It's something you manage. I'm not going to cure the a neurological disorder in my brain. My executive functions just don't executive very well sometimes.
He doesn't have very good CEOs in his brain.
That's right. And it can really cause some like dispersal. Is mainly what happens with me. Is I get very dispersed, or I get on 5 things at once, and it can be really confusing and lacking focus. Well, I was talking to my psych about this week, and about some of what goes on feelings and emotion wise as well with some of this, which I won't necessarily get into with you here today. And she said something that really threw me, because it was almost the same thing that the Scientology recruiter first told me back in the day when I was first signing up for my first course, right? She's like, well, I was telling her this problem, and she goes, well, how would you feel if if there's a medication that might be able to help you with that? And just like with the Scientology recruiter, right? When she's like, well, we have this course that'll help you with that. And you what? You have what? Like, cause I was sitting here thinking that there was no solution to this problem. I was just telling her about it. I didn't expect that she was going to, go here's something that might help you with that. Well, she did. And, yeah, psych is a pretty common term outside of Scientology, Stuart. Yeah, it gets used around. Yeah, psychiatry, psychiatrist is usually what it's used for versus psychologist. I guess you could say your psych is a psychologist too, but normally it tends to be for psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so I'm trying this new antidepressant med. Basically, what I was describing were certain, depressive symptoms. And so we're trying this out. And so far the last 2 days, it's been pretty damn useful, pretty helpful. I'm just getting on it. I'll keep you guys updated. But it's a Wellbutrin variation, a new one that's got a little thing added to try to make it kick in maybe a little faster. And so far it seemed to be working. I've gotten a lot done in the last couple of days. So anyway, so that's really cool. Yeah, I do feel more focused with this medication. I'm actually able. See, here's what it's doing for me. The dispersal, the feeling of being, of not being able to focus on one task at a time, is now more of a choice than it was before. I now have choices that I didn't have before, where I'm sitting there, and I'm still getting the little ding ding, hey, how about looking at this, or ding ding, how about this, or hey, you should check your phone, or hey, you should do this, or hey, you should do that. I'm able to, no, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing right now and not get distracted by that. And sometimes I will choose to go off and do something else, but more often than not, it's been giving me those choices. It's been putting me into a calmer place where I don't feel as anxious, emotional, not numb, not even unfeeling. I definitely feel, but not as much, and not in the same intrusive way. And it's only been 2 days, so, I don't have lots and lots to say about this, but I thought that might be useful to share, and I've been paying a lot of attention to myself in the last 2 days over that, right? But it's been going well, so we'll see what carries on with this. I've got this kind of big project I'm working on right now, and it's really helpful to be able to just sit and get that work done without that dispersal, and with some motivation added in. That's the other component of what's been happening the last couple of days, is a little bit more motivation. It's funny because the motivation was always there. but with the dispersal kind of not there as much, it's easier to act on the motivation and kind of keep it going. So, yeah, so that's good. And yeah, was that hard for you to choose meds with your Scientology background? Yeah, it actually was. There have always been little, oh, what, wait, and I definitely told her, my psych, that I was not initially, I was like, yeah, no SSRIs. No.
But Wellbutrin isn't one. It's something else.
It's something else. That's right. So we've been working without that. So I'm not doing SSRIs, but we'll see where it goes. So, oh my God!
I know it's already 6:30. Yeah.
Jesus, it is frightening to me how fast the time flies when we're on mic, when we're on air here. Yeah, we're illegal PCs now. That's right. And I've already made myself ineligible for the Sea Org too, so. Oh well.
Oh darn, you can't ever go back to Scientology.
Damn, I know, right? All right, so let's talk about psychological manipulation now. I've got papers and I've got a nice list here, and I've got some things to go over with you guys. So let's do this. Manipulation, manually controlling somebody, right? Manipulation. Psychological manipulation is a form of social influence that aims to change the perception or behavior of others through underhanded, deceptive, or abusive tactics. That is the manipulation we are talking about today. We're not talking about the good kinds of manipulation. This is the bad stuff. Underhanded, deceptive, or abusive tactics. Unlike straightforward persuasion, manipulation is often done covertly, with the manipulator seeking to advance their own interests at the expense of the manipulated, who are often unaware of the manipulation. I need to lead today by saying that those of you who might be watching this now or in the future who think that you are somehow shielded, have a superpower, have some kind of inherent awareness of when people are trying to manipulate you, that you don't let them, and this kind of thing, please stop. Please stop.
We all have issues with it.
Please stop lying to yourself. It's basically what I'm saying, because we are all manipulatable. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to navigate our way around in society. But the degree of manipulation that's going to happen with someone is going to depend on the skill set of the manipulator. And the best manipulators are the ones, and I guarantee you that you have met one or more than one master manipulator in your life. And you're not even aware to this day how they manipulated you, or that they did. And that's the dangerous and that's the best kind. That's the one where it really worked, is when you don't even know it happened. It's like getting conned, right? Getting that kind of thing. And every one of us have run into these people, because narcissists are about 1 in, I don't know, I keep hearing different numbers, right? 1 in 6, 1 in 10.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. There's millions of them out there. No matter what metric you want to use, there's millions and millions of them.
We've all run into them, yeah.
Yeah, and we all run into them. That's right. So how do they do this? If you're going to proof yourself against this, the only way to do it is education. I cannot recommend this book enough, by the way. This is Cialdini, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, right? Robert Cialdini, PhD. This is mostly used in marketing.
Wow, of course.
Sales, right?
Of course.
The classic book on persuasion, right? Yeah. So that's where people use this stuff, but they should be utilizing it in the in our field, in the ex-cult world. This is also really important stuff, because this book lays out all the different ways you can be influenced. We did a whole seminar kind of live stream workshop on this book and all the things in it. Influencing other people is a thing. Why you engage in influence is to manipulate, right? To change. And you can influence for good or you can influence for bad. Context is everything with this.
Yeah, are you trying to get someone to donate a bunch of money to a charity, or are you trying to steal somebody's money?
That's right. Exactly. So how is psychological manipulation accomplished? A lot of ways. One, of course, is deception. Lying, omission, or exaggeration. We're just going to get those out of the way right off. First one, you lie to somebody, you just straight up give them bad data. And they will think with that information as though it's true because they'll believe you, right? I'm putting you in the manipulator role. But that's, you can just give somebody straight up bad information. Hey, the sky is red. And, oh boy, will you get some interesting responses if you run around telling people that, right? Okay, omission is leaving out critical information. That can be just as bad as lying to somebody is the omission. And exaggeration. Blowing things out of proportion, overstating the facts to sway somebody's opinions or actions. So straight up deception is one method or means of manipulating somebody. You give them basically for a short or long period of time an altered reality. And that is a good way to think about deception. Because it's the goal of this kind of deception or manipulation is to change someone's reality so they will act based on this false reality, and they will perceive the world through the lens of this false reality. And this is what cult thinking is all about. This kind of deception, right? This is why liars and manipulators at that level anger me so, because it's so purposeful, and it does such a disservice to the person who's being lied to, because their worldview is that to that degree unreal, insane even. They can't make rational decisions on bad data. It's really destructive. Now, another way that people go about this, and it's different than deception, it's a whole different tack, is gaslighting. And this also is about altering or undermining reality, making the victim doubt their perceptions, their memories, their sanity. And you can do this again, short-term, long-term. You can engage in short cons, short manipulation for an immediate need, or you can do a long con or a long problem or long manipulation there. Benson's barking. I think the mailman is here or something.
Yeah, I think that I heard him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then the other dogs start barking. We know when it's the mailman because then the next door neighbors start barking as the mailman goes down the street. But also with gaslighting is denial and contradiction. Repeatedly denying facts or previous statements, leading the victim to question their reality. So you're either directly assaulting their perception and their reality, their interpretation of things, or you're lying, you're deceiving by denying things that have happened in the past that this person thinks or knows is true.
Right.
Right. And either one of those is gaslighting. And that's, again, a purposeful, often repeated pattern of behavior with manipulators so as to create this different mental state in their victim. Let's put it that way. Because when you're weakened by that, by self-doubt, by self-recrimination, by self-loathing, if you start to wonder if you're sane or not, you're so pliable.
Yes.
You become so
You're so vulnerable, yeah.
Exactly. That's why deception and gaslighting are top of the list, right? This is real common stuff. Okay, number 3, exploitation of emotions, emotional manipulation. And that not just any emotional manipulation, but exploitation. So here we're talking about guilt tripping, installing fear, or love bombing. Very different ways.
Same thing, but just a different way of going about it. Yeah.
That's right. So you're going to guilt trip somebody into doing something for you. Children do this constantly. It's one of the easiest forms of manipulation to understand. You can bend somebody to your will by making them feel bad about not doing what you want them to do, or leveraging that guilt in some fashion. You can install fear, right? Fear induction. Cult leaders are brilliant at this.
If you don't do this bad thing's going to happen.
That's right. If you don't get up to OT3, you're in danger, man. Danger. Right? Here you are, Mr. Newly Minted Clear in Scientology. I feel so bright. The world is great. Oh, yeah? Well, you better get up to OT3 right the hell now, because you're in danger, bub. What? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Day 1 of being a clear is you better get your ass up to OT3. You've only just begun the journey, my friend. Right? Fear, always, right? Fear of world collapse, fear of economic collapse, fear of not making it up the bridge, not achieving the goal. You know, fear drives a lot of behavior. A lot. And it's very underhanded stuff to induce fear in people. Again, you're making them vulnerable. And of course, love bombing. And this is the opposite end of the spectrum, but it's the same kind of deceptive emotional manipulation. People love bombing a victim don't really believe that what they're saying. Right. They're just saying it.
Yeah.
Right?
Just to get you to do what they want. Yep.
Every single person who walks into a Church of Scientology and does a personality test and gets their results will be told at some point along the line, very, very, very distinct possibility that every single one of them will be told at some point, you're so special for walking in here. You're so aware just because you walked in here and did this test. Do you understand how unique you are? How you're actually representative of the upper 10% of society, of our culture, that you care enough about yourself to come in here and do this? Oh, oh man, let me tell you, people come in here all the time and they are idiots. They don't know anything about themselves. They don't know anything about life, and they don't care to know. You are different, right? This is love bombing. Everything I'm doing right now, this is totally love bombing, as well as, bringing in a whole herd of people. Oh, you're going to sign up for this course? That's so awesome. Oh, you're going to do, this is love great. It's so good, right? Now, again, right, I never trust anyone who love bombs me. Absolutely. I don't either when it's obvious. But sometimes it can be subtle.
Yeah.
It's called love bombing, which makes it sound like something very obvious. And sometimes it is, but sometimes it can be like, just get right in there. And when somebody walks in or comes in, or you're dealing with somebody whose ego is a bit bruised or having a bad day, their morale is out the bottom, man, they're going to just like sponge up your love bombing, because it's going to make them feel better. And then it's going to make them feel special and unique. And then it's going to make them feel like, ooh, I should do something about this, right? And then they're going to bring in community and all the other stuff. Okay. Here's an interesting one. And of course, we would all know about this. We've all seen this, but it doesn't necessarily occur to people to say this in terms of when you think about manipulation, right? Playing the victim, right? Seeking sympathy, getting sympathy, the whole sympathy ploy. That's manipulation. And it's underhanded, deceptive manipulation when it's done by somebody who's really not a victim, or is not as much of a victim as they are exaggerating the situation to be. Pretending to be a victim to gain sympathy and manipulate others into providing support or making concessions. right? Oh,
That's how they track their flying monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's for sure. So the victim thing works like the bomb on empathetic people. It won't work as well on apathic or obviously sociopathic people, but boy, can you bring in money, influence, power, yeah, and like a lot using the victim card, playing the victim card. Now, another way to manipulate somebody is to isolate them. Isolation is your first step of coercive control. So it fits in with the bigger idea here. But by isolation here, we mean, like we do with coercive control, cutting off your support networks, cutting off your social, your safety nets, making the manipulator the source of your money or your power or, your livelihood or your source of affection and love, and it's only this person. Family, no. Friends, no. Right? Just this one person. Isolating a victim, limiting their interactions with friends or family to increase dependency on the manipulator. Very, very common with narcissistic relationships and domestic partnerships. One person, there's always that power game that couples will play in establishing dominance and control in the relationship. Every relationship does that, and it doesn't always end with one person in charge at all. I mean, that's not how we are, and that's not how a lot of people are, right? You can have a partnership, but there's always those little games that you play, right? But this is the game where the manipulator has to win, has to be in charge, and will not stop until they are. And isolation is a really strong tactic that they can use once they've insinuated themselves into a person's life. It doesn't even take a long time sometimes, within days. Sometimes these romantic manipulators or cult manipulators will start cutting off former ties, right? Oh, those people don't sound good for you. And they try to make it sound really reasonable, very rational. Yeah. It makes sense that you should be cutting these people off. Beware. Always be wary. All right. Projection.
Oh, boy.
Projection, another form of manipulation. Blaming others.
It's not me doing that, it's this guy.
That's right. Accuse the victim of the manipulator's own negative traits or behaviors to deflect blame or guilt. This is DARVO, right? Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, right? Is this blaming others. I'm the victim here. You are, how dare you, right? That kind of thing. Okay. And this is a lot more common than you may realize. Out there in this big wide world, there is so much projection going on out there. It endlessly fascinates me and of course upsets me because of the nature of what happens. How many righteous people out there go on and on about grooming and about pedophiles and about all this nonsense in society.
And they have a 14-year-old boyfriend.
Yeah. And then you find out that the loudest, the people, out there demanding to burn the books, demanding to, pass the laws to hang all these pedophiles. You find out these are the guys that have been carrying on with their, with their own children or with others, pastors. I mean, I've seen four different stories this week about, old men who had been molesting kids, pastors, government officials. Just a bunch of stories came out this last week about that. It's nasty, nasty stuff. And you do not find anybody who is on a more righteous cause than the people who are actually engaging in the behavior. And it really is disturbing because, of course, this is stuff that we should be against. And there should be people publicly saying this is not good. And there are, but it's weird how, you know, the strained, the people who are kind of like weird about it, they're the ones who are actually doing it too. It's this projection thing, and it's across the board. It's not just with sexual assault.
No, it's with any kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it with all these people that rail against homosexuality and transsexuality and stuff like that, and usually they often have some repressed stuff going on when they're that crazy about it.
Exactly. Exactly. Because there's, you know, I mean, and obviously if you put yourself in the mind of the manipulator, the abuser, the sexual abuser especially, then you can immediately see, you know, the conflicts. Oh,
look at me. I couldn't be doing that. I fought so hard against it.
Well, exactly. In terms of public persona, yeah. But internally, I was thinking, you know, you're talking about people who are filled with self-loathing.
Oh, sure.
And guilt and shame, and they cannot deal with it. And so they turn it into an outward fight so that they can psychologically feel justified, or that they are somehow making up for what they are doing. Ugh, it's wild. And that's not just with, like I said, with sexual stuff, right? Okay, there's a word here, triangulation. And what this specifically means is pitting people against each other, creating conflicts or rivalry between individuals to control or influence a situation, right? So this is in Scientology. They call this third-party law. It's a real thing. It's not, you know, with Scientology, this third-party thing, Hubbard says that if there is any conflict that will not resolve through, conversation, or won't easily chill, you have an unknown third party involved in the conflict, egging on both sides.
Wow.
And it's true, that can happen. It's not universal, doesn't happen 100% of the time with conflicts that won't resolve, but sometimes two people just will not resolve their stuff. But, right, pitting people against each other is an absolutely old as the hills. I mean, as soon as there were three human beings, this happened.
Oh, sure.
You know, this is base stuff for human beings. Is is I want something, so I'm going to get you two. At each other's throats, so I'm the last one standing, right? So you two are going to take care of each other for me, right? And it's the hiding in the shadows kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Now this next one is where we get trauma bonding from, and it's called intermittent reinforcement. This is where where you're sweet and then you're salty, and then you're sweet and then you're salty, right? You're sour, you're sweet. Providing rewards or positive reinforcement sporadically to create an addictive cycle of seeking approval. When you withhold your approval and you have somebody who wants your approval or needs it, right? You can play games with them.
Yeah, meter it out just how you want. Yeah.
That's right. We all know how that feels. We all know how that feels and what that looks like. I don't think any of us have not experienced that. And when you realize what's happening, you can finally go, wait a minute, you know. But up until then, you can really feel like you've been played a fool. You have been, because you have been made to jump through all these hoops and do all this stuff, chasing this goal that you were never going to get. It was the cards were stacked against you right from the get-go. So you're only getting these intermittent bits and pieces, and it's never really as good as the first time, right?
Sure.
As we say. So this is an actual method, though. This is something that manipulators will do on purpose. They learn about this, that if you only satisfy somebody 50% of the time, the other, they will obsess to try to bring it up to more than 50%, right? Okay, then there is straight up overbearing strength, authority, right? It's my way because I said so. Just straight up using a position of power, dominance to intimidate or control others. So, this is like domination, intimidation. This is how you can go about manipulating people. And almost universally, when somebody is doing that, by the way, they and doing it in a manipulative fashion, they're not going to tell the truth.
Nope.
Right? They're going to use their domination or their intimidation, but they're going to lie. They're going to tell the person or the target things. This was so common in the Sea Org. And the lies would be, along the lines of the purpose of the activity, what we're going to get from the activity, why we need to make the quota because the money is going to be used for something specific, which it never was. This kind of thing, right? Like there's some grand purpose, but it's all just bullshit. But you don't think it's bullshit in the moment. You think it's real. You think it's true. You go for it. Somebody's just using authority or influence or power over you. Then there is the opposite end of that, which is withdrawing, which is the silent treatment.
Yep.
Right? Withdrawing communication or affection to punish and manipulate the victim into compliance. This is not just somebody being mad at you. This is somebody purposefully withdrawing from you so as to cause you a problem, a confusion, a worry, an upset. What's going? What did I do wrong? What? Now you're chasing them, right? You're chasing them for approval or for compliance. Oh, I'll do anything you want. Just please talk to me again. Hey, come on, it can't be that bad, right? Creating dependency is number 11, and we only have 12 of these, by the way. We're almost done. Induced helplessness, making the victim feel incapable or dependent on the manipulator for decision-making or validation. And this would be accomplished through things like gaslighting or through, other manipulative tactics. You can get a person into a state where they feel helpless. They feel like they can't make the decisions, or they don't know.
This is really insidious in the disabled community. People do this to disabled people a lot to manipulate them because they already know. It's like they make sure that it's hard for them to get access to the things they need without them, and that's terrible.
Right. So they're helpless.
Yeah.
But it's induced. The person's not really helpless, but they're being made to feel that way. Or the manipulator puts themselves or insinuates themselves in the victim's life in such a way that they take over getting their meds, getting their taking them to treatment or whatever. Right. They become dependent on this person.
Yeah, because they're isolated. Yeah.
And that way you can't get rid of the manipulator. See, that's the whole point is to force the victim to keep you around, even if they kind of don't want to. They have to because they feel completely dependent upon you, right? That is absolutely harmful manipulation. And finally, diversion. Misdirection, changing the subject, distracting or shifting focus to avoid addressing a subject or responsibility, right? So this is manipulation. Is somebody just like distracts you right off of something or is unwilling to engage or deal with something that needs to be dealt with in the relationship or situation for some reason, whether it's a boss, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a friend or a family member. If they are never there for the conversation, never make themselves available, always skipping out, right? Always, or when they're there, they're shifting attention around. They're anything but that, right? It's a form of manipulation. Because then we have to step up and overcome our own insecurities about confrontation to try to deal with this misdirection and shifting attention and all of that. And it puts us on our, a little bit in a weird place, right? Because we can start thinking, well, is this really is this person really doing this on purpose? I don't know. it can set up all these weird confusions.
Yeah.
So basically, understanding these things is really your first and only line of defense. That's why I go over this stuff, is I hope that it's useful that way in terms of how do you protect yourself against this. You protect yourself against it by not assuming or thinking that you're invulnerable to it. As your first step is the humility of recognizing that you're just as human as everybody else, and that manipulators and con artists and others, human beings, are capable of influencing or changing your mind about things. And if they can do that, they can manipulate you any one of these 12 ways. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's about the best way we could deal with that. What do you think?
Yeah, just education.
Basically.
Learn. Yeah.
Learn. Okay, so that was what I wanted to go over with you guys tonight. Let's see. This weekend. Oh, do I have a podcast for you guys? I think you're gonna like it. It's pretty long. It's just about 2 hours, maybe a little bit over. It's an interview with a man, Dr. John Hunter, and we're talking about if you've ever wondered, like we've talked recently about these large group awareness trainings, these AST Forum, Landmark, these kind of things. There's other groups out there. What do they do? How do they do it? What exactly are they doing up here? Because it's not the same thing as what Scientology does in terms of recruitment, or what the Moonies do. Well, actually, the Moonies do a little bit of this, actually, according to how Hassan was recruited. But large group awareness trainings and the methodology and psychology of it, and even the neuroscience of it, we get into all of this in this podcast. It's a good deep dive on this, and I hope you guys will check that out. So that's dropping tomorrow, and you're going to see more. This is Cult Recovery Year, and most of my content has been focused around education and stuff on cult recovery. But I've also been diving into MLMs and LGATs, right? And this has been a real adventure, learning about this stuff and interacting with people coming out of those worlds, because it's same with the cult stuff, and yet a little different too. So anyway, like I said, we'll talk about that tomorrow. And then you will see me on Sunday for Critical Q&A right here at 1 o'clock, as we have been doing. We pretty much switched over to live Q&As at this point. And keep sending me questions, though, by the way, because I do get them in a queue, and I will throw them up on the screen, and we can answer those during the live Q&As as well. So don't hesitate at all if you have questions for me outside of the live Q&A to send them to me, or whatever. Okay. MLM is when a dog sticks its tongue out, right?
Okay.
All right. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and wrap up.
All right.
I should have given you those cards while I was previewing everything.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Let's see what this one says. Maybe. All right. The fallacy. Presuming that because a claim has been poorly argued or a fallacy has been made, that it is necessarily wrong. Recognizing that Amanda had committed a fallacy in arguing that we should eat healthy food because a nutritionist said it was popular, Elise said we should therefore eat bacon double cheeseburgers every day.
I don't see the problem. I mean, cheeseburgers every day.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily make them healthy.
Every day.
I mean, it would be great and delicious, but you'd also probably have a heart attack.
All right. If you say so. All right, guys. Thanks very much for coming around and watching. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, by the way, or otherwise. We could absolutely love it to when you share the love with us. All right. And if you need any one-on-one with me, contact me. Let's do it. Guidance, help, support, education. I provide all of that, and so far I've been doing a decent job of it. So, so feel free to reach out to me for consultation as well. I'm available for you. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up. Bye bye, guys.
Good night.